All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully, some more people pop in and out here, and we'll get this recorded. And let's talk about some of the issues. I'll invite everybody to speak if they'd like to, but primarily, I'd like to discuss, the idea of trust and truth in decentralization in crypto. I think a lot of what's going on these days is we're in transition, right? We're seeing a lot of projects that are doxing now, some of them doxing directly to their clientele, some of them doxing through services, like a Rug Doc or an Obsidian Council. So, we're trying to shift towards that, I guess, that business model, right? Where you know what you're getting into, right? And people are held accountable. I feel like we're not there yet, right? Because that's great that a group of people want to dox another group of people and hold on to that information to protect them, I suppose, and protect investors. If we're ever going to really get to the next level here, that's nothing more than, me taking a set of names and putting them in my pocket and promising to give them to somebody who might do something about it. That's not a business model that's sustainable, in my opinion. We're starting to see some of what that business model creates in terms of how one or a small group of people can drastically affect price, can drastically affect sentiment on a project, right? Which should not be able to happen. I mean, you don't see that in large companies and in stock. I mean, certainly there are large investors who are influential, people like Elon Musk per se, right? If he buys something, people want to buy it. If he sells it, people want to sell it. But in crypto, we're seeing, just to give an example, what happened like within Titano this past week with Jesse. And, for those who aren't aware, a video was put up with his sentiment. Apparently he didn't understand some of what was going on with Titano, and he was making assumptions coming from a different understanding potentially than what Titano was actually doing. But what it brought out was a real problem, right? And the real problem is that there are lots of people who are quote unquote bullish or selling projects, right, who are not on the team, but they are influencers. And when you look at those people, what is their primary job on a daily basis? I'm going to say that it's to remain an influencer is their primary job, right? Certainly, I think many of them started out because they wanted to inform people, help people, because people started listening to them, right? But at the point it becomes a business for them, then it's a business for them. And I think that even to use again as an example, Jesse even said that he perhaps may have looked at the algorithms before he looked at what the title of something should have been. Hey, that's cool. At least we're learning from that. But this is some of the problems in DeFi itself, right? It's not a typical company with marketing and avenues, right? We're really in a new space in terms of the influence that influencers have, not just on whether people buy or sell something, but I mean, really, some of these people on the success of a project or not, right? That type of influence can be good, but I would think people would agree it could also be very dangerous. So this is, I think where we have to start to turn as individuals. We have to become leaders in this space and call for more, right? We have to say we're going to hold people to a higher standard. It goes beyond just knowing your name, right? Who's doxxed or who's not. Because I'm going to tell you, in reality, I could have your name and address, and outside of me flying to your country and knocking on your door, it's probably not going to be very easy for me to recover anything from anybody, especially from another country. I might be able to turn you into authorities. If it's enough money, they potentially might look into that, I guess. It would depend on what laws, if any, were being violated. We know a lot of the laws with respect to this space are up in the air, right? So, I mean, we're providing this false sense of security to people, really, is what it boils down to. We're saying because it has a tag on my website that says somebody's holding my name, that you should feel safe about investing in this. And that's going to lead to a dangerous precedent, in my opinion, right? When that when that safety net, that blanket, that fuzzy warm feeling cracks, the whole thing's going to come falling down, right? When somebody pulls something and that mechanism doesn't work to really recover money for people, uh, there's going to be this, well, why are we doing this even, right? I like what certain projects are doing. With all clarity, I am involved in a project called Gildify. I'm hired by them. I'm make no uh, secret of that. But the reason I chose to take a position with them and work with them is because they're doing things to protect initial investors. They're providing safe exit liquidity. Okay, these are the types of things, in my opinion, that are the beginnings of building real trust, building real security protections for investors. Right, mechanisms that automation, that doing things uh, in a more than make a buck fashion can really start to bring to DeFi. The idea that securing contracts by more than just another group of devs looking at it, there are actually security certifications, and not just in the US, but in other countries as well, that developers who work like on bank uh, systems, that work on financial systems, government systems. There are high level certifications that these people have to obtain with respect to security that are recognized, if not just in certain countries, some of them even worldwide certifications that are recognized, right? Because obviously banks work together worldwide. There is a international financial network. All of those things have to be secured, and there is a system in place for making sure that that code and the people who work on it are properly certified. Somehow, DeFi has stepped out of that, and crypto has stepped out of that, probably because, hey, we don't want to be banks and we want to do it different. Well, we get that. But in trying to sell to people that you're securing something and it's not really more than some other devs or a group, let's say, of other people that aren't really vetted by anybody, right? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I get where Certic and these companies are trying to go. They're trying to build that ecosystem, but in my opinion, they're missing that vital component of, well, why should I trust you to certify that code? Because you say you can do it, because you've done a bunch of them. Where's the real, I guess, protection in it? Some of my feelings. Anybody want to step up? Comments? What are your thoughts on some of this stuff? Well, I mean, if nobody wants to speak up, that's fine. Oh, here we go. Cool. Come and talk to me. What's up, my brother?
Hello. Can you hear me good?
I do hear you. What's up, my brother?
Now it's just a little busy, but I'm just trying to catch up. Know everyone's doing a bunch of spaces today. Yeah, no, it's interesting because there's always the innovation someone does, and the next group tries to make it a little bit better, and that's kind of the gist I'm getting from Guildfy. I'm still looking into some other stuff too, but I like that. That's a good stance.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's where. I mean, this is where projects. I mean, look at business, right? How does any business, many businesses get started, right? If it isn't a groundbreaking idea that you came up with, from scratch, many products and businesses look at another one and go, well, how can I do that better? How can I make it a little bit better? How can I protect people a little bit better? Make it safer, or make it more profitable? I mean, that's what DeFi is about, right? And I think that's what is still great about this space in the early days, right? Yeah, are you going to invest in things that don't make it and fail? Yeah, sure you are. Does that make it a rug? No. I mean, there are certainly plenty of companies in history that started out, received all kinds of initial funding on a stock market from friends or whatever it was, right? Who didn't make it because maybe their idea they thought was better. People just didn't buy into it. That's okay. That's what, the space is about. I think it's about trying to find out what works, trying to try new things in the space. And I love projects that are doing that. I think we're seeing not just in new projects, but we're seeing in the existing projects, right? They're making shifts to try to do several things, right? The biggest one, right? They're trying to bring utility to their economy, to their ecosystem, right? Revenue. How are they, as a project, as a company, going to actually make money besides people just investing in it, right? We all talk about in DeFi, it's a Ponzi till it isn't anymore, right? Well, you're starting to see that shift. You're starting to really see, okay, well, how do we begin to make money? I like what some of these projects are doing in terms of how do we get outside of DeFi and make money, right? Because anybody can set up a DEX to trade another coin, but you understand that all of those types of things, launch pad platforms and things, those are all great ideas and they will generate percentages and revenue from projects that are looking to use them and from people looking to buy and sell, tokens. But again, all of that is sitting on top of the fact of whether crypto stays intact and keeps running, right? I know there's a lot of talk about stable coins, what's happening with stable coins. Are they going to choose one of these stable coins to become like the dollar for digital money? So there's a lot of things in flux. What I like are these projects that are trying to look at ways to bring in revenue from outside of crypto, right? How do I make a business on the outside that is potentially bringing me revenue from whatever it is? Real estate, I've heard. I've heard, even some of these things with loans, right? We see lots of these projects that have made DEXs turn into quote unquote crypto banks, right? Where you can deposit a token and take out a loan against that capital. So there's a lot of interesting things going on with respect to how projects are going to generate revenue. And I think that a lot of like what we're talking about today, security and trust, comes from like, well, where is my return coming from, right? Is my return just coming from more people investing? Is my return coming from just investment in other projects, which in essence is the same thing, right? So that project has to succeed. How is it making revenue? How is it giving returns to the project I'm invested in, right? Is it all just one handing another, and the tokens just getting handed from one entity to the other, right? What I'm looking for is real value. I think that's what brings more trust and to a project, is when you can show me that you're going to provide returns because you have a business plan to actually sell a product or a service or something that is not solely precedent upon another community succeeding. To me, that's a dangerous precedent to get into. I understand what VC funds are, and I like that idea of using large capital to invest in things. I'm looking for more of those projects that are investing in real world things, as opposed to it all just being one DeFi project invested in another DeFi project, right? And I know there are some that are doing this. I mean, I love what WireX is doing, right? WXT is a token, but again, they're built on a system. WireX owns a payment processing system, right? Like that's beyond crypto. They're generating revenue. So I like where some of these projects are going in that they're trying to develop either software or hardware solutions that are going to generate revenue. I've heard some people talking about mining, right? They want to build mining facilities and they want to generate revenue through that. I mean, again, at least that's a little more tangible, I guess. Again, it's still precedent upon these chains operating and the taxes and things, but again, at least it's a step away from the I'm just going to take your money and invest it in another project, which I get that you can get higher returns because you're investing a larger amount of money. But I guess what we've seen repeatedly is that's not coming to fruition because, as we know, crypto is so volatile, right? And so, just like it's volatile for you or me as an individual investor, it's volatile for large VC funds that are investing in other projects as well. I think the way that we begin to minimize that and brings more stability, right, to the investor is by diversifying. And this is what any economist will tell you, right? If you're a company or a person and you are investing in anything, you need to diversify what you're investing in. And what I keep repeatedly seeing from the bulk of projects, again, I don't want to be blanket statement everyone, and I don't know what every project is doing, right? But what I see a lot of projects doing is they're not diversified. They're diversified from the standpoint they're invested in a bunch of other projects in DeFi, but that's not real diversification. You're still sitting on top of the entire market of cryptocurrency. And when it goes up, great, things go up. When it goes down, everything goes down. Diversification means get into other markets, get into, commodities, or get into real estate, or there are solar, I don't know, but there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other ways to invest and make money in the world. And as you begin to diversify, that's what will bring stability to the investor, I believe. That's about all I got to say for today. I don't know. I hope I haven't wasted too much time. I appreciate those of you who showed up to listen, and the recording will get posted. And my plan here going forward is, once a week, have a forum, talk about the things that are really facing investors in crypto, and bring real answers and truth to it. I hope everybody has a great week. Crypto Medic out.